On the evening of September 17, 2021, 28-year-old primary school teacher Sabina Nessa left her home on Astel Road in Kidbrooke, southeast London, at approximately 8:30 p.m. She was heading to meet a friend at the Depot bar in Pegler Square, a journey that should have taken just 5 minutes. Sabina was running late for dinner, so she chose to take a shortcut through Rathore Park, a route she was normally too afraid to take. This decision would have devastating consequences. What Sabina didn't know was that Albanian-born predator Kosi Selimaj was lurking in the shadows of the park. The 36-year-old had travelled from Eastbourne, East Sussex, and was lying in wait for an unsuspecting victim. This wasn't a crime of passion or a robbery gone wrong. This was calculated, predatory violence. 3 days before the attack, Selimaj had booked a room at the 5-star Grand Hotel in Eastbourne. On September 17th, he checked into the hotel, having booked the one-night stay earlier that week. The hotel where his estranged wife worked cost £350 per night. 2 hours before the murder, he contacted his former partner in a failed attempt to engage her in sexual activity. When she refused his advances in the hotel car park, his frustration would soon find a horrific outlet. Hotel staff were reportedly uncomfortable with his behavior when he checked in and were suspicious enough to call police, but no action was taken. This missed opportunity would haunt investigators later. After leaving the hotel, Selimaj drove his Nissan Micra first to Brighton, then toward London. To the best of police knowledge, this was his first visit to that part of London, and investigators never determined why he chose Kidbrooke. Security camera footage from a Sainsbury's near Rathore Park showed him buying a rolling pin before the attack. The rolling pin was later found in his car boot. Police believe he had planned to use it as a weapon. By 8 p.m, CCTV captured Selimaj on foot in Rathore Park, Kidbrooke. He was waiting, watching, hunting. As Sabina walked through the park, Selimaj attacked her from behind, striking her over the head 34 times with a 2-foot-long metal traffic triangle. The assault left her unconscious and slumped over a park bench. The violence was captured on CCTV, though the grainy black and white footage made it difficult to identify the hooded attacker. Selimaj then carried her up a grass bank and disappeared from view. He pulled up her clothes, removed her tights and underwear, and strangled her before covering her body with grass. 10 minutes later, cameras captured him returning to the bench to collect debris from the shattered triangle. By 9 p.m, Selimaj was seen leaving London. En route back to Eastbourne, he stopped near Tunbridge Wells, Kent, where he disposed of the traffic triangle in the River Tyne. He had covered his tracks with chilling calculation. Sabina never arrived at the Depot bar. Her friend waited, growing increasingly worried as the minutes turned to hours. The following day, Saturday, September 18th, a dog walker discovered Sabina's body hidden under a pile of leaves near the One Space Community Centre in the park. Her body was found in the afternoon, less than 24 hours after she had left her home for what should have been a brief, safe walk. The location was heartbreaking in its proximity. Sabina's home overlooked the very park where she was murdered. She had been killed within sight of her own windows. The Metropolitan Police launched an immediate murder investigation. Detectives began the painstaking work of piecing together what had happened through CCTV footage, witness statements, and forensic evidence. On September 23rd, police in Lewisham arrested a 38-year-old man on suspicion of murder. He was later released. The investigation was moving quickly, but the killer remained at large. The breakthrough came through technology and old-fashioned detective work. Investigators used CCTV footage to build up a picture of the killer's route to and from the murder scene. Automatic number plate recognition cameras revealed the registrations of 60 Nissan Micras that had used the A2 road. By cross-referencing this data with CCTV footage from businesses near the park and the timeline of the attack, investigators narrowed their search. On September 26th, 3 days after the first arrest, Selimaj was arrested in Eastbourne on suspicion of murder. He had been identified via CCTV footage of the attack. After being locked in a cell, he was seen holding his head in his hands and pacing up and down. Selimaj was charged with murder on September 27th. The garage worker from Terminus Road had no previous convictions, but investigators discovered a dark history. At an earlier hearing, prosecutors revealed that Selimaj had been violent toward his ex-partner in the past, including throttling her multiple times. His wife later told detectives she was a victim of domestic abuse, including 3 occasions when he tried to throttle her, but she had not reported the attacks. On September 30th, Selimaj appeared at the Old Bailey via video link from HM Prison Wormwood Scrubs. On December 16th, 2021, he initially pleaded not guilty to murder while admitting he was responsible for Sabina's death. However, on February 25th, 2022, Selimaj changed his plea to guilty at the start of his trial at the Old Bailey. The admission spared Sabina's family the agony of a full trial. On April 8, 2022, Mr. Justice Sweeney sentenced Kosi Selimaj to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 36 years for what he called a savage, sexually motivated attack. The judge stated that Sabina was the wholly blameless victim of an absolutely appalling murder, which was entirely the fault of the defendant. In a striking feature of the case, Selimaj refused to attend his own sentencing, demonstrating what the judge described as a clear lack of remorse. Detective Chief Inspector Neil John described him as an evil coward. At the sentencing hearing, Sabina's family delivered powerful victim impact statements. Her parents, Abdur Roof and Sabina Nessa, addressed Selimaj directly. "You had no right to take her away from us in such a cruel way. The moment the police officer came to our house and told us she was found dead, our world shattered into pieces." Her sister Jabina Islam described Sabina as an amazing role model who was powerful, fearless, bright, and just an amazing soul. She told Selimaj he was an awful human being who did not deserve to have his name spoken. Sabina was a well-respected and beloved teacher at Rushy Green Primary School in Catford, about 5 kilometres from her home.
I got my son with me today because I've had to go to the shop again, so I didn't really want to go on my own.
More definitely needs to be done. There needs to be more police in the area.
A panic alarm isn't going to stop you getting attacked on your walk home. What's going to stop you getting attacked on your walk home is your perpetrator not attacking you, is a culture change that means women aren't at risk of being attacked in public spaces or behind closed doors.
She brought her love of green spaces into her teaching, often taking children to the school's edible garden where fruits and vegetables grew. Her students had lost not just a teacher, but a mentor who inspired them daily. Sabina's death came just 6 months after the abduction, rape, and murder of 33-year-old Sarah Everard in South London by a serving police officer. Both cases sparked national conversations about women's safety and violence against women and girls in the United Kingdom. Questions were raised about why Sarah Everard's disappearance and murder initially received significantly more press coverage than Sabina Nessa's case. Many wondered if the disparity was due to ethnicity and skin colour. Sabina was a Muslim woman of Bangladeshi origin. Sabina's sister Jabina stated that while her local MP had been supportive, more senior government officials had been useless. She complained that the lack of support for her family was due to their ethnicity. According to Counting Dead Women data, 139 women were killed by men in Britain in 2021 alone. 1 in 5 women in the UK will experience sexual assault during her lifetime, according to London's Metropolitan Police. The case exposed uncomfortable truths about how society values different victims and how seriously authorities take violence against women. It also highlighted a disturbing pattern. Detective Chief Inspector Neil John noted it was highly unusual for someone to go from 0 previous convictions to a crime of this magnitude. Yet the warning signs had been there: domestic violence that went unreported, concerning behaviour that went unchecked. Sabina Nessa's murder was not inevitable. It was preventable. And that makes it all the more tragic. Her death reminds us that every woman deserves to walk home safely regardless of the time of day, the clothes she wears, or the route she chooses. The responsibility for ending violence lies not with potential victims, but with society's willingness to intervene before tragedy strikes.